Welcome guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Masculine Twin Flame read in front of you, and there was some very special important coding that was coming through today that some of it I need to piece together with some of my prior technical drawings. So it was very cool that that was coming through for me today, but there's some other amazing messages coming through. So it is November 8th today, 2019. The 8's all about the Strength card, the inner and outer strength, as well as the higher levels of manifestation, manifesting your dreams. The 31 that the day adds up to is a 4. It's also the 5 of Wands. It's the 4 of stability and structure and building, the building blocks of lower manifestation, which has to do with survival on this planet, and also the expansion of the 5 of Wands, of competing, fighting, on the quest, also playing games, the other perspectives of that 5 of Wands, expansion energy, the change, freedom. So as we get into this read, before I start with that one, I did want to say last night, around 10:39, Up and Away, my beautiful balloon was coming up very strong for We Can Fly, We Can Fly, all right? It was coming up very beautifully, actually. There's a lovely feeling that came in with that. And the movies I watched, and I don't pick movies by their titles, it's just what I'm feeling when I see the pictures and that kind of thing. And so it always amazes me the name of the movies that I watch and how they resonate with the reads. So I was watching a little bit on the series The Devil Next Door, which had to do with Ivan the Terrible. And then I was watching The Lovers. So very interesting that The Lovers and the Devil came up in the same day. And the read today was done at 11 to 11:01. So justice and a lot of source energy behind it, because the 0 is the human embodiment of source energy. And then to 11:01, which is the Magician. The major arcana for the read today were the Indigo, which is like the Magician, Abundance, which is like the Empress, the Tower, Luna, the Moon, Reason, which is the Emperor in the traditional deck, and then Star. Before the read, we had Karma and the Wheel. Karma is like the Judgment card, and then the Divine Wheel in this deck, the SIRIAN Starseed deck, is usually the Wheel of Fortune. So we had 3 cups today, 1 wand and 1 sword. There were no pentacles there, but 3 cups, which is more than the masculine usually has. And then it's 1 wand and 1 sword. No practical things today. And what is today? Is it Friday? So not so much focus on money and career today. And then the court cards were the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. The Knight of Wands came up after the read, and the numbers were double 6s and double 7s, as well as 7-8, 2-6, which are the 10 of Pentacles and the Page of Wands, 67, which is the Knight of Pentacles. So there wasn't a lot with numbers, and number 12 as well, the Hangman, the Wisdom. The code line was all about spirituality or spiritual career and financial discipline. And the only number that came up on the code line today was the number 2, and 2s have been coming up like crazy this week. Like we had 4 2s in the read yesterday. The times have been triple 2s. Very interesting. I went out to run an errand today, and my ticket for my parking, the time that it ended was 5:55, and then I went in to do what I was doing, and through the window was the bus stop 55. So major changes abounding. So the message here around spiritual career and financial discipline had to do with abundance and mastering that. But the support of the T and the T, which for me is toggling upward, but the T and the T together are temper tantrums, but also become Pi, the centered human between their masculine and feminine. It's not the dance yet, but it's just centering your chakra system. So the TT was coming up around the 2 in the mastering of abundance, but also the Pi, or the centering of the 2, and the Masti, which mastectomy could be coming up for someone, but also that represents for me half of 2, which the twins are. You're half of 2, because you're 2 separates, but you're half of the 2, because the 2 is actually the whole. But it doesn't mean you're not whole. You're each whole, but you're also two people as a whole. You're a unit. So abundance and spiritual career and financial discipline, temper tantrums, and supporting the feminine energy in abundance. So this read started out with the 2 of Cups. So of course, we're dealing with number 2 today, and now we have the 2 of Cups that it starts out with, and it's reversed. This is the, actually, I'm reading you, this is the read from last night. So I'm not going to go through this whole read for you, but I just gave you the energies of what was going on last night. That was at 11 p.m. last night. The one from this morning was done at 10:49, which is 10 is the Wheel of Fortune and 49 is the 9 of Cups, the Get Your Wish card. And I was awoken by a scam call this morning, and scam energy was definitely coming up within the cards as well. Not only for this, but I did all the signs this week, and that scam energy was coming up today. So that's definitely there. And it's not about going into fear, it's just remembering to stay present. When you stay present at 0 point in your awareness of yourself, you don't allow yourself to go outside yourself and therefore risk going back to your old ways of doing things. When you stay present, you remember to stay in love and not to react to things and know, oh yes, this is it. It's okay. It's all okay. It's all okay every moment. So the read today for the masculine was at 10:49 this morning. The only major arcana that came up in this read was the higher self, and then the solar deity before the read, which is the sun. There were 3 swords, 5 cups, and 2 pentacles. So here this morning, there were no wands, whereas last night there were no pentacles. But you know, going to sleep at night, you're often not dealing with pentacles. But today it was about no wands. We had 3 swords, 5 cups, a lot of cups. We had 3 cups yesterday and then 5 today. 5 is very unusual for the masculine to have in cups. So we're very heavily weighted in the emotions department as I started to lose my voice a little bit. And I'm trying to think what sign I was losing my voice with today. I can't remember right now. But 3 swords and 2 pentacles other than that. And then the King of Pentacles, the Page of Cups came up during the read. The King of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. So very strong and mastering materialism. And then the Page of Cups, which is like the opposite end of the spectrum of total innocence in love. So the King of Swords also came up before the read, and after the read, the Page of Wands and the King of Wands. So we had 3 kings again here in this read. We had triple ones, 2 2s, and 2 3s. So we have that 1 2 3 jump again, so jump right in. And then 56 came up again. This is incredible how many times 56, and then when I went into the technical stuff today, it was taking me back to some old drawings I did, and I have to piece it all together, but 56 was coming up again, which is the sweet spot, because I always tell you that, you know, you want to stay just light or airing to the lighter side of the middle. So in numbers 1 through 9, you have 5 in the middle, right? So 5 to 6 is that sweet spot to stay at. Just like alkaline and acidic as far as the body, you want to keep your body a little bit alkaline as opposed to acidic. You know, if you drop into the acidic realms, you know, that's when you get cancer, and cancer just expedites that. So always staying a little bit above the middle, which is the sweet spot. So 56 is the sweet spot as far as the numbers. But it's also the 2 of Swords, which is staying in your knowing without the need to know, without needing more information, because you're supposed to be using your abilities, your intuition to know. So that was very important again today. 79 of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for me, that is. 35 came up, the Mary Magdalene Wounded Warrior energy. We also had the code line adding up to number 17 from 6 and 11. 17, of course, is the star. We had 99 came up also. Did I tell you that one already? And 352. And the number 12, I told you the wisdom card that came up in the ones I was just telling you about last night. 23 is the King of Wands, 39 the Knight of Cups, and then 67 the Knight of Pentacles. And again, like I said, the 79, which for me is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or in other words, reaching the other side of the bridge to the 5D. The message here was very cool today. It was all about relationship change and health. But when I went to write down relationship, so the REL was covered. So it was coming up as ASCENSION and health. So the code line here around relationship change and health, and the number 17 of the star with the lovers and the 11, the 6 and the 11, the lovers and the justice, which justice again is just truth and balance. The relationship change only showed Asianship change. So there's a show of power here in two different ways. Again, two different perspectives, two sides of the same coin. The divine masculine and the divine feminine each have a different way of showing the same power. The total weight of the world, the lovers, the higher self, herself, and the 11 of justice, truth, and balance. And connected to the root chakra issues and housing co-creation, because housing has everything to do with your root chakra issues. But today it was bringing up the root chakra and the housing because there's something about co-creating together that has to do with creating your foundation and, of course, housing. Also, the acronym IRE came up, which literally means intense anger, and the anger blocks have been coming up all week. I pulled my muscle, my right shoulder, so I'm still having a lot of trouble. It wasn't healing, so I actually started taking Motrin because it was not getting better. And I'm probably going to have to put my arm in a sling just to keep my arm still. And also, even though my knee's not out, I run, so I was definitely feeling a little instability in my right knee this week as well. So there's a lot of intense anger that needs to come up and out. And remember, it's okay to scream and even curse your twin out if you need to, because in the 5D, your twin is above that, so they're fine with you doing that. It's just don't do it to their face, you know. But get your anger out. Don't shove it down. But that was important. Also, anonymity was coming through. And also then enmity, which means hate. The anonymity, of course, being nameless. And I smelled smoke or sage at that time too, the nameless person. And Anna, the name Anna was coming up with anonymity, but also Anna was coming up besides that yesterday and today. Amityville Horror then came up, as well as Animal House and Fraternity, and the twins, the twin lovers. Okay, so a lot of anger and horrors coming up. So really horrible things that you may have experienced in your life before, or in your past life that's in your DNA wounding that you don't know or you're not aware of, so it's hard to bring up. But all that stuff is coming up to be seen now, the horrors. And so, of course, then that's why I probably watched Ivan the Terrible last night, because the horrors of the Holocaust. And also there's a vision I had in the beginning of my journey about the Amish. I saw a little boy, somewhere between 5 and 8 years old, out with their dog, and the little boy got lost, and so because the dog ran off, so the boy had to chase the dog down, and they were on a farm, and for me it was definitely Amish country, by a woods, and as the little boy got there, the dog had run onto the farm, and it was really strange. It was like a trailer set up right there, and there was like a driver's cab in the trailer, but it was like a stationary trailer, and a younger son was in the steering wheel cab, but the old man was leaning up against the trailer next to a barrel, which, you know, like used for dunking bins to put people's head under the water. And he was just this old man who was very evil, and he was sitting next to this dunking water bin, and his son was behind the trailer, literally killing this dog, stomping it to death. So there was some very evil energy that came up with that story. And it's very interesting too, because it's in my lineage, because my father grew up in France during the war, and so his parents used to send him out to the countryside at certain times during the war to keep him safe with friends, and he got lost out in the woods with his dog there at one time, which parallels exactly to that story I'm telling. So there's some energy that comes up there in my DNA lineage. And then I did a past life regression, and that story about the Amish country came in. I was asked to go to the end of the life that I was seeing in that past life regression. And when I did, it was like a cabin in the middle of nowhere in a ton of snow, where the man just walked out of his house along the cleared sidewalk and walks halfway out and just drops dead in the snow. But there's no one there, nowhere. There's nothing. This was the only place that was out there. So it was about, the message that came out of that session was, it is very important to know that it's better to be a very, very, very bad person than to be alone. And the reason for that has to do with expansion, because there's no expansion when you're alone. There's no connecting with anybody else, no other people. So I need to bring that up with the evil stuff that's coming up right now. There's a lot of anger. The Holocaust anger is coming up. The show of power of the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. So they're going to be rebelling or acting out because of this anger. And all connected to the root chakra issues having to do with co-creation and housing and creating a stable foundation between you. So the IRE is coming up, and that could be Ireland stuff too, intense anger. And like I said, Amityville Horror came up, Animal House, and fraternities, and that could be fraternal twins as well, but also not just school fraternities, but, you know, good old boy fraternities as well. And Animal House, like I said, and that could reference a zoo, the Animal House. Also, ASCENSION came up, ATION, which means stem of. So what does everything come from? What is the stem? What does it stem from? Like where in your childhood, all of that kind of thing. And that was connected to eating. So ATION in the definition of the original terms, whether it was Greek or whatever it was, ASCENSION breaks down to ate and ion, which has to do with eating and connecting. And then also suffocation, right, is part of that. And the horror of cation and suffocation is very interesting. They use that as an example because eating causes, right, if it goes down the wrong way, can cause suffocation. So there's another horror that was coming up, the root home. So a lot of root safety and security issues were coming up. The ASCENSION being an indication of an action, a process, a state, a condition, or a result. So then I went online just a little bit to get some headers. And the first one was just the Ace of Spades, but within the header blurb, it said Batgirl in there. So, and of course the masculine always comes up as Batman. So Batgirl's coming up. So whether Batgirl be relating to a daughter or another younger girl around him, Batgirl was definitely coming up with the Ace of Spades though. And I guess spades are swords. Is that right? The end of, so very much about being able to use your tongue, right? And your thoughts. The end of life care, ethical decision making also came up as a header. And also people with learning disabilities who engage in self-injury, right? So taking it out on themselves, that deep, deep anger. Also, Inya Masora came up, Muntu from YouTube, and I have no idea what it is, but it came up. Inya Masora dash Muntu, M-U-N-T-U, colon, and that was from YouTube. Also, Anna Smith came up, so here's another Anna that came up. Kaist, K-A-I-S-T, that site came up, as well as the ACE, just that generally. And then another site, which was very cool, came up, all words containing the letters A, C, E, 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 and P. So I write down these letters, and so the whole blurb, you know, was listing all the words that contain those letters. But I was looking at as the acronym, so what is the message for me? So A-C-E-E-E is ACE, E-E, which are my first two initials, because I'm Evelyn Esther. And two aces came up in our header today. So I got ACE, E-E, and then it was and P was the last letter, but it said and P, which it always amazes me how Spirit does this. But for me, P is that part of that safety pin that I did at one point, and the video is still up there if you want to go back and look at it. I think it was back in April, showing how the vacuum works between the masculine and the feminine, and the sun or the central sun, and then releasing that energy at the full moon. So the P is part of the pin of the masculine and feminine, but it's missing the housing because it doesn't have the other end. Oh, and I think the icon for Apple came up as that too. It's supposed to look like a capsule, but it literally looks like the pin as well. It's like two circles with two lines connecting the circles. So that was very interesting as well. So the ACE, EE plus P was coming up, AC, and then it's acing the EE, the divine fem. So whenever it comes up AE, it's my initials, but it's referencing the divine feminine. And then AC is alternating currents. And then P is the pin, but missing the housing. It's not stabilized. So this is taking us back to what we're getting in the coding today, which is what Spirit's always doing. So we have my safety pin on how the masculine and feminine work together in creating that vacuum of energy and then using it and then refilling again. So the AC of the alternating currents was referencing to the image I just put out for you guys, showing the twin flame journey and how as we get closer, you're learning how to go in and out of 3D, so 3D, 5D, and so it literally draws a line like an M that keeps going on up and down. That curve goes up and down. It's how are we going to do the dance going from 3 to 5D, but both of us, the divine masculine, divine feminine, and that's why union is so difficult, because you're breaking in on how to do the dance not only between the divine feminine and masculine within yourselves and your twin, but also going in and out of 3D and 5D, which is like the opposite direction. So it's like the 3D and 5D is vertical lines going up and down, and then the masculine and feminine would be like horizontal going up and down. So there's two different ways that we have to dance, okay? So this is what this ACE plus P was giving me, the alternating currents of toggling up with the 5D, but it's not staying there. It's going up and down for both of you. And most people, it'll be the feminine who's going to be more in the 5D than the masculine. It just depends how your energies run. And then acing that, the feminine up in the 5D and getting your wires crossed between all of that and staying grounded at the same time. So that led me back to some of my notes of my technical drawings. And there's some stuff I'm going to have to work on that because it's definitely pulling some stuff together for me. So it's a toggling up with grounding. So it's saying, where I usually just tell you to make sure to toggle up and meditate and all that kind of stuff, it's saying make sure that you ground. There's a show of power times 2, the Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the twin lovers, having the weight of the world on their shoulders. The higher self, herself, aces intense anger and madness. On the cross, the Mary Magdalene was grounded while in 5D until death, all right? So when Jesus was on the cross, Mary Magdalene was there with him, helping him. So the masculine grounds us. So she was grounded until he passed away. But once he passed away, she was no longer grounded by him. And then for Mary Magdalene, the intense anger would set in because she's no longer grounded. So it was reminding us very much so when you go up to 5D or you meditate or whatever, to make sure you ground your energy down to Gaia. Because otherwise, like it said, when you come together with Jesus and Mary Magdalene, as soon as he left or passed away, she became ungrounded and very angry. Always ground to Gaia. Don't leave it to the other. So don't always assume your masculine is going to ground you or vice versa. So the challenge is the dance, not only between the masculine and feminine, but between the 3D and 5D. Within each, the masculine and feminine for the 3D and the masculine and feminine in the 5D in their living. So we have the 8 and the 8 next to each other, which I always tell you is the dance within yourself, side by side, the masculine and feminine, each their own 8, dancing within their masculine and feminine. And then I was getting the dash, because that equals the infinity, which is the 8 on its side. I always tell you equals the 2 8s upright. So then I was being taken to the Olympic symbol, which is a very important message here today, because the Olympic symbol is 5 circles, but they're not all intertwined. There's 3 on top and 2 below, and they're all sovereign, okay? The only way they connect is between above and below. So the 3 circles connect to the 2 below, but side by side, they're each sovereign and separate, showing you on this parallel timeline of 3D, we all remain sovereign because we're not unified because we're in the earth consciousness. So we are intertwined if we toggle up and down and come together, but side to side, we're not. We're completely separate or sovereign. So as I put the infinity, or excuse me, the Olympic symbol together, they're basically 2 infinities and 1 human connection. All right, so 2 infinities would be 2 separate sets of twins. And I talked about this yesterday too, about the monad and also the 3 sets of twins that seem to be coming together, like the one set of twins help the other 2 sets come together, and then as the 2 sets come together, they pull the 3rd set in. So the 2 infinites, the infinities, and 1 human connection is the 2 side by side in union, and the 1 being the connection, because there always needs to be a loose connection there to connect to others. And so now this is 2 plus 1 again, connecting to the numbers that were coming up yesterday. Within somebody else was saying 2.1 to 3.1, and I got 2.5 to 3 within that range. So again, we're again talking about the energy of the 2 to the 3, for whatever it means exactly. The 2 infinities plus the 1 human connection, it's saying you always need that 1 extra to expand, right? Because the even numbers have to do with the feminine, the odd numbers have to do with the masculine. So when I put the Olympic symbol together, the 3 circles on top, the 2 below, they're not connected at all until you push the 2 to the 3. That way they are connected. And when you put them together, it's very interesting, because the 2 on the bottom are fixed energies. They're connected, they're each connected to 2 other circles. However, the 3 circles on top, the 1 in the middle is also connected to 2, but it is the leader, it's the center, it's the cardinal one. Then the 2 circles next to the cardinal one that make up the 3 on the top are the mutable ones, because they're only connected to 1 circle, because they are able to connect to other units, not just their own. So it's very interesting how it brings in the fixed, the mutable, and the cardinal signs into the Olympic symbol, and also because it's 5, and 5 is expansion. If you go to 6, you're then balanced again, okay? So that's the 5 to the 6, again, the 56 of the 2 of swords. So the mutable ones, the 2 circles on the line of 3, where the cardinal's the center, the 2 lower ones are the fixed, the foundation, and then the mutable ones who can come and go. The 2 lower ones being the root foundation, they are fixed, and grounding the middle, but the flanks are free to leave, like being in 3 lanes of traffic where the middle one is stuck. That is the cardinal one. They go up. So this was very cool, because all of the technical drawings I've been doing, they're all starting to come together now. So if you take that Olympic symbol and you add the one that's missing, right, into the monad, because the Olympic symbol is the 5 for expansion, and when you are Olympic star, it's about flying high, right? You're not staying on the ground, you're flying as an Olympic star, but you also need to stay grounded the whole time while you're doing this. So we have the 5 of the Olympic circle, so you need that 6th one to complete the monad. So as you draw the Olympic symbol with the 6th one, it creates a triangle of connection, or not a triangle, but a diamond in the middle of the monad, which is the 2 pyramids together, and the monad's the triangle. So we have one pyramid that's upside down, as I put the Olympic symbols in there, and then added the 1 on top. So the 1 on top, since the 1 in the middle of the 3 is cardinal and goes up, the 1 at the bottom is there for, it's Gaia, it's grounding, it's the strong foundation that we're talking about in the coding today. So here's our monad. We got the cardinal in the middle, got the 2 flyers on either side flanking the cardinal one, and then that's that red cardinal who only comes to the tree. Oh, I have a whole blurb on the cardinal too, that's very spiritual, and they always come by themselves. So they're the cardinal one in the middle, flanked on the side of the flyers, or the mutable signs, and then the strong foundation are the fixed signs, and below that, Gaia, right? Because that's even more grounding. So if you draw the lines from center to center, it creates a diamond between the 4 circles, and then the 2 flyers are outside the diamond, because they connect with others. And the diamond creates that strong foundation. It becomes the whole unit. So the triangle is 1 unit, the monad, and then it connects to the other triangle, the reflection of the triangle, which then creates a diamond, right? But when you put the 2 groups of monads, of circles, together, they overlap, which creates an overlay of the triangle. So they actually don't line up hypotenuse to hypotenuse, but they actually overlay a little bit to connect with the other unit. So then there becomes this throughway, like a street that goes down the middle between the 2 triangles, that is actually the throughway on the horizontal, the jumping from timeline to timeline, okay? And I did another demonstration of this where you put circles all together, And so when you are traveling between the circles, that's the path that we're mostly on, right? And you can go around and around and around the circle and repeat the patterns as much as you want. And then when you're ready, you veer off to the next circle. You just take a different direction and then you start doing that pattern. But there were also lines going from circle to circle, which were referencing the time jumping, the quanta, the quantum leap. And that has to do with this time jumping line where the triangles come together to make the diamond or the square. That is the time jumping line. So it was very cool. And again, it was referencing the Olympic symbol 5 out of 6, because there always has to be contrast in order to create movement. All right, you have to have the odd number to expand to bring it back to the even again, to rebalance again. So it was very cool because now we're coming into the diamond, which is part of the connection to the other diamond of the drawing that I drew for you, which connects to the vein and the valves. It's the same thing, only the vein is circles and smooth. The diamond connections are the squares and more pointed. So the circle is the human embodiment of source. The triangle is the monad, the open circuit, the odd numbers. So remember that the monad's an open circuit because it belongs to a diamond. It needs to reflect itself, which is like the twins coming together. So like you're one monad within yourself, connecting with and reflecting your other half of you, the other side of the diamond. So the monad or the triangle is considered an open circuit, whereas then the diamond or the community or the soul group becomes the closed circuit, the even number. And this is all starting from the human, which is the circle. So once connected to the reflection, you're now a closed circuit, all connected to the 2 to 3. So all the circles within are connected to 2 or 3, except, so when you go to the community, you now can connect to more than 2. Now you can connect to 2 to 3 other circles, except only connected up and down, not side to side. This is the 3D dance. It's a 5D. So the 5 out of 6 leaves an opening to connect, to expand. The 6 closes the unit, becoming one with Gaia, and forces you to upward to reflect with self, but then leaving a horizontal out, a portal, a pathway, a quantum jump out of the community or timeline into a parallel universe. So this was very cool. So you realize also the Olympics comes every 4 years. Again, the patterns of the 4 seasons, the election period, all of those things that come in 4 cycles. And then, of course, the Winter Olympics being a teaser to the 4-year cycle. And then I wrote down, the time was 11:59, so here we are. The moment before the bewitching hour, the 11:59, right before 12 o'clock, or the 60. So here we are going to the 5 to the 6 again, and it's the minute before the bewitching hour, the 12, the wisdom, the end of the cycle, the hangman. So right at that moment, 11:59, I put my hands together because I was just reading about the circuits, because all this information has to do with open and closed circuits. So I put my hands together to close my circuit. And then it was referencing, it's so cool, that I had my hands together so my circuit wasn't closed yet, right? Because I hadn't put my feet together yet. And it was referencing, again, here's the psoas muscle, because the psoas muscle connects the upper half of the body to the lower half of the body. So I had just closed the circuit for the upper half of my body, but I had not closed the feet circuit to the lower half of my body, which then references the 2 triangles that became the diamond that I was just telling you about, of the 2 monads coming together, the feminine monad to the masculine monad, and how it becomes a community or a bigger unit. And then as I wrote that down about the circuit and the bottom half of my body and my feet, the wind started gusting outside, and that happened twice today. So then I knew I had to go back in my old journal of technical drawings, and I was noticing another drawing I just did yesterday, and I did the symbol, and then I redrew it because I wasn't sure exactly how it was supposed to be, but in doing that, redrawing it, I was showing an open and closed circuit again. And then one of the pages I looked back on in my journal had a picture of legs bent. It was literally the left leg bent up, and as I looked down at myself, I was sitting exactly in the position that I'd made a drawing of when I looked up in this journal. So that was very cool. And then the knee, it was the right knee bent, Or was it the left? It was the left knee bent and the right knee with the foot flat on the floor, and then there was energy reflecting that. The left knee bent and the right on the floor, and I was literally sitting that way in that position on the couch. So all about circuits. And then I was another picture I had about circuits and the contrast of the Mary and the Jesus, so the odd and the even of the feminine, the odd of the masculine, and going in and out of the circuit. And also that there was a star that I had been doing a meditation at that time that my twin had shown me in that meditation. How the horizontal meets the vertical. So I'm gonna have to draw this up, maybe a technical, I'll have to make a little like class or like that and sell it to you guys for a minimal cost. But also R2D2 is coming up again, and the 22 of the Fool, and taking that leap of faith. So the Olympic symbol also came up when I looked back at my journal. It wasn't the second time, it had come up more than that, but when I looked back at my journal, it took me right back to the Olympic symbols. It was confirming the reason for that coming up. And then I had also noticed a note about right ovary pain, and just a funny message my twin had come through with about blockhead Charlie Brown, and also a mutation in my brother, who actually has the same name as my twin, that in the code heading the other day came up the mother effa, and that this mutation gene, the abbreviation for it literally says that. So it was bringing that through because I'm going to see my brother this week. And that gene has to do with methylfolate, the L-methylfolate, and having trouble absorbing it. And then another picture I had the M with two eyes drawn in it and the third eye between in the middle of the M, which was connecting to what I was getting with the other triangles I was drawing. Because I actually made a face in the diamond that I ended up making, and it shows where the eyes would be placed in the nose and the mouth. And then I found in my journal this picture of the M with two eyes and the third eye between in the M, which contains two pyramids or triangles. And the M is like two triangles open, so it's just like opening a box. If you close the two triangles of the M, it becomes a diamond. So it's very cool how all this stuff comes together. Also, one of the old notes was a seesaw, where the seesaw was up with the anger on the top and the sad on the bottom, and the triangle supporting the seesaw being the support. And don't use anger because it was used, you don't like to be angry. If you're someone who doesn't express anger, it was because it was used against you in a wound, and that's when it said to yell at whoever in 5D as opposed to the 3D, because their 5D aspect can take it, they understand. So also what came up in my journal was a movie I had seen at that time that had to do with the girlfriend couldn't forgive him because in order for her to forgive him, he had to forgive his father first, and then that would pull her in. So these are all messages that meant to come up for you today. So getting into this read today, we have the 9 of Swords right there on the top with the Ace of Wands here, the 9 of Cups. This is the solar deity or the sun here. And then we have the King of Swords here and the 9 of Orbs or Swords on the top. So it is the SIRIAN Starseed deck. We also have the Rider-Waite Mini. We have the Tarot Sexual Magic, the Numerology deck, Romance Angels. We have the Universal Golden Tarot and the Gilded Tarot all on the table. So, one more thing before I get into the read. Another message I got for you guys as twins. Any other twins that you have developed some kind of relationship along the journey, even if you're not connected anymore, you're to go back, and because you are each other's triggers and wounds. So what is it in each of the people that you know of the twins that is a wound for you? Like, what is it about their personality that made you feel shunned in the past? You know, is it because they're really smart and maybe you don't trust smart people because they've used you in the past? So in that sense, go back to each twin, even if you did a lot of wound clearing with each other, go back to each twin. There's a reason for this today. What is the number one thing in their personality that was a lesson for you about your own wounding. So do that. So we have the Queen, excuse me, not the Queen, but the Nine of Swords on top in the underlying foundation. Suffering, frustration, happy alone, without the sun, drained, sick, overexposed, the King of Swords. The King of Cups reversed is emotionally detached, falling for the Queen of Wands reversed crap, or both with foolish behavior, or fell from grace, lacking faith, and the King of Swords connecting with healing and dreams, their soulmate dream. And then the numbers 1, 6, 5, 4 were coming up. And then 16, which is the Tower, and 79, which is that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So 16 is that Tower moment, the epiphany, the eruption, the explosion that gets you to the other side of the bridge. Moving, ending marriage, ending a party, or visit to friends. Out in the cold, exile left behind, the Divine Feminine, reversed, Queen of Swords, speaks about anger and frustration, which I'm doing now, of not being heard, not getting attention, feeling a failure, under the radar, drained, sick and tired, and I was definitely getting for one of the signs today, sneezing and coughing. So some people might be getting sick or just getting over a cold or something now. But sick and tired, overexposed, too much sun or radiation, or excitability, right? Excitement, too high a vibration, and just feeling fried. And that was at 12:57, and my twin was connecting with me at that time, right then. And 12 is the hangman, so the wisdom, and then the 57 of the Three of Swords, the wisdom of the three-way heartbreak situation of separation. So the masculine feeling fried, but back in the saddle, just getting a grip, settling in, and right leg pain was coming up for the masculine. And then, well, this was really funny, because in rebellion to my Charlie Brown blockhead comment that's come up, and I've never called any of the masculines blockhead, but that's come up as messages before, which are really funny. And it's interesting too, because there was a picture of Charlie Brown that I found when I was emailing my twin early on in the journey, and I'd sent Charlie Brown upside down to my twin. And I don't know if that was a wound for him. It might have been. Maybe people teased him about Charlie Brown when they were little, but it's just funny that that came up at that time, and it's coming up again now. So instead of a blockhead, Charlie Brown, it was coming up here, he's a brick house, right? So instead of blockhead, he said, he's a brick house. And then emerald and magenta came up side by side, ebony and ivory, so Linda and Paul McCartney were coming up here, with natural red carpet over brick overlay, but what's underneath? Questionable materials? It's not stone, but it's unidentifiable, grainy, easy to break down, recyclable. The destiny is out in the open, dumped or in the dumps, or duped perhaps, or dumping or crying, purging overwhelmed with the high priestess or secret, or psychic abilities, or Viking priestess, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Streaming emotional energy in with hook in the ice sculpture or train, the cold space between. The Holy Grail brought down so that the Holy Communion could rise into it, to rise as one unit. Lies, split, harsh BS, rehab, hospitalization, and alternative sex practices. No surprise, tripping up, magician angry with all power on board, connecting with the Emperor reversed, stunned into submission. His own inner magician is schooling him, thinking he's going to have to get on his knees to pray, with dessert and chocolates opened and not candies passed on from a gift given to him. Pomegranates on the floor in the spa or hotel. The dog is under the table hiding, sensing something is brewing, as origamis are all over the floor, and the trophy wife is in the spotlight. Everyone take cover. The only fury greater than a woman scorned is that of God, Mother Nature's, on behalf of one, natural disasters without warning. A storm is brewing, and that was at 1:16. So here we have the magician and the tower again. And the tower is definitely coming up. So a storm is definitely brewing, and then the wind gusted again at 1:16. The King of Pentacles reversed, surrendered in a turn for the worse, a fight or a child walking in on inappropriate behavior or games. this child, very innocent, was coming up as the Page of Cups upright. So again, spirituality came up, number 77, and self-discipline for the masculine, 41, which is the Ace of Cups and the Sovereign. The devil, or just a Capricorn person, may be causing suffering and silence, as the King of Pentacles being reversed, either losing money and status or just ungrounded, or someone who's really greedy. But the King of Pentacles reversed in surrender in a turn for the worse, a fight or an innocent child walking in on inappropriate behavior or games. Engines pumping, which can referencing, kids walking in on their parents having sex. Heart speeding a mile a minute. 2 butterflies in the grass or on a log, watching a fight, a game, or walking in on someone having sex or saw wrongdoing. Witness to a crime or a murder. The Witness Protection Program came up here at 121. The Magician and the World, the end of a cycle. So this could be coming up about the present time, but it also can be coming up about a masculine who, as a child, was in the Witness Protection Program, and actually this may have happened to them, or it's happening to somebody's child now. An innocent child or adult suffering in silence, and that was at 121 to 122, the World to the Fool, and then we turn the page to the 1, 2, 3, Jump, and the sun just brightened up right there. Jump. Oh, that's funny. I can't tell you what's making me laugh because I can't say names. All right, but anyway, 1, 2, 3, Jump, and in need of more sun or energy or a cure for what ails you, the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Emperor reversed, spirituality and psychic abuse or holding their tongue about what was witnessed. The Page of Cups upright is sick about the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Emperor reversed, or what they know. The recent energy here has to do with the 6 of Cups upright, the twins or the kids, with an opportunity to study about twins. Overworking and aligning with desires, or completed projects are done, and someone got 6 gold stars, possibly for the kids, giving clarity or information about a lie or a split and divide, some needing to cut through the BS, or an idea, an awakening, or an ego, and those abandoned, homeless, left out in the cold, injured, hungry, fired, laid off, or exiled. The foundation here for the masculine was the King of Pentacles upright. So in the underlying energies, this is important, these 2 characters, because they switched positions. In the underlying energy, the King of Pentacles was reversed, and the Page of Cups, a child most likely, was upright. In the read, the King of Pentacles is upright, but the child is now reversed. So the King of Pentacles upright, grounding and integrating an offer of love, fighting debt, imbalance, inequity, or those who don't want him to accept under the radar without attention. So again, people around them not wanting him to accept this offer of love. He's grounding and integrating. So under the radar and without attention, the King of Wands in a takedown or strip search or scammed, or the King of Wands paid off another under the radar to destroy the connection or hit on a person. The King of Wands bribing the King of Pentacles or vice versa, but they're both upright here, so they may feel justified in what they're doing. The King of Wands without a leg to stand on and thinking he's ended the conflict, or the King of Cups reversed and Queen of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles, who are all reversed, all plotted the downfall between the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Could be a father and 2 to 3 sons, and or daughter and daughter-in-laws. A lot of people there. The central issue is 2 cups, the 2 of Cups, the soulmate bond, defenseless to homelessness or exile, surrendering to rejection or vulnerability, or to a spoiled child to end the battle of deception. The challenge being for the masculine today is the higher self, the secret, or the psychic abilities he has. The Empress reversed, passed away, or dark night is in lack, or with an ill mother, ill grandmother, or partner. Spreading the word or news or child that talks, unable to find peace, drained, ill, sick to their stomach, or over-radiated or overexposed at the workplace or hospital or school, perhaps. Lies, split, strong Leo, or ego. The Hierophant is reversed, which can be a Taurus, divorce, a break in contract, a bad leader, or alternative beliefs or outside-the-box thinking. tripping up, dropping the facade or dropping the act, and breaking patterns of codependencies and addictions, the Capricorn man. Or sudden wrongful death, or dark night journey, Pisces, Scorpio, Taurus, and Capricorn here may have passed, or sick and was taken down in an illegal or immoral or codependent way. Kids or twins surrender or give up being happy alone, or the wizard comes out from behind the curtain in the rain, or in heartbreak, separation, heart surgery, emergent care needed, or breakdown or broke, or car issues or accident or canceled a move or trip, or with or of the King of Cups reversed. So now what's crowning for the masculine is the Three of Swords. The lightning strikes a few times. God doesn't reach out often, but when they do, it hits hard. A very sharp lashing. The worst is over of disability or stubbornness or a strike after a fall or someone tripped up, not working, or due to injustice and a need to scale down for the Page of Cups, child or new love. And that was at 148, 1 the Magician, and 48 is the Eight of Cups, walking away within. So the King of Pentacles, Taurus, divorced and now single, or a new partner or grown child, sovereign, that is just like the King of Pentacles. The lovers or kids or those of affection, the Queen of Swords reversed and the Queen of Cups reversed, inspired by breakdown, patient with the wounded warrior, surrendering after shake-up or shake-down, shape up or ship out, inspired by justice, divorce, or Libra or truth and balance, and kids or twin. Happy alone in the aftermath of giving up to the Queen of Cups reversed, happy alone in awakening, a new idea or a big head perhaps. Or even though the Queen of Cups is reversed, she is comforting in his time of need. And soon is the Ace of Cups reversed, dumped or overwhelmed, peeing a lot or vomiting, expressing feelings and energetic exchange, and seeing synchronicities everywhere, and overwhelmed with excitement, looking back and letting go to repair, fix, and amend, letting go of burdens and responsibilities when sees such beautiful things. Suffering in silence, stressed out avoiding the world, completion or sealed divine feminine, or poof, and suddenly all is well around the world when he sees the synchronicities. He is clear on lover magnetizing his gold coin and him holding back. Choosing the left, feeling loss or regret, and then turning around to offer love as the Knight of Cups. Forgiving and learning came up, trust, let friends help, and very soon. And around the divine masculine is the Page of Cups reversed, rejected, vulnerable, or spoiled brat. Moving, ending marriage, or traveling to a friend or relative's house, the Capricorn or devil codependencies waving as the Knight of Wands is coming into play with the devil, or hang out with a friend who likes to play. The Capricorn in separation, or heartbroken, or heart issues of the Emperor reversed, and visiting in hospital, or the Emperor reversed is abusing their power and trying to taint an innocent soul again. Clear blocks, divine masculine of the Ace of Pentacles reversed, running away from or stealing from a group to give to the rich family, or that could be from a small group to a bigger group, or a big institution, holding off on a new life or holding back money to get stuff while others are partying or distracted. Health comes up, relationship change or Asianship change. Compassion, even more so though, is compassion for the masculine today, manifestation. Okay, so compassion and manifestation. Destined to be vulnerable to the spotlight or to rejection, and grieving and awakening or conceit or arrogance in heartbreak and separation, a breakdown with the King of Cups reversed, grieving, resting, or meditating in the 5D, or one has been laid to rest, to complete a family or an emotional cycle and make everyone happy. The Page of Wands, masked boy, still deliberating poor choices of third energy and frustration and release from prison, whether that be anxiety or literal prison, or just having your hands tied by whomever, of the Queen of Cups reversed, and awakening or ego, and inspired to heaven to take steps and guidance of his synchronicities as the King of Wands shaman, growing up, walking away and within, reaping rewards and being strong. The magician is manifesting with the hermit's light, angels taking one step at a time. Oh my. And that was at 2:08 to 2:09. And at 2:08 on today, 11:08, which is 2:08, is the High Priestess and Strength going to the High Priestess and the Hermit shedding light. Suffering, stressed out, the King of Pentacles clearly rejected, vulnerable, shy, or spoiled child with twin or kids, a soulmate connection, challenged by the higher self, the High Priestess, his abilities, and or secret, dumped or overwhelming, and thinking about a new life and a need to separate, or holding back a new life in heartbreak, and grieving the Page of Wands, the masked boy, taking steps to become the King of Wands shaman, the angel. The magician and the hermit together as one angel, one strong and one goes within. Both reap rewards of union. Stressed out twins and or kids, the Page of Cups upright and the King of Pentacles soulmate twin is in separation or separating, and the challenge being that higher self or the High Priestess, the secret or the abilities, and clearly dumped on, or overwhelmed, the Page of Cups reversed, rejected for a new life or for a loan, and grieving the loss or regret, and inspired to raise his vibration and become a shaman. So that was very cool. I hope you like that, guys. Please comment below. There's a lot of really amazing, crazy information in that read. So please let me know if you've had any information like that come up for you guys. Of course, comment anyway, just if you want to say hi, and make sure you connect and like and share, and if you want to get my notifications, you know what to do. If you would like a session with me, all my information is below. The twinflames3344.com and at gmail.com. It's all below, or on my website. And my CD is still out there, Ashes, Twin Towers to Twin Flames. And yeah, guys, rise and be loved. Bye.